Hi, everyone, and welcome to our live session on how to turn your research paper into a research presentation. Hi, hello. So, today, what I'm going to do is break this session into four parts. First, we're going to understand which different situations do you actually have to go for a research presentation. Then we're going to talk about what are the different sections which go in a research paper and what are the different sections which go in a research presentation. After that, I'm going to focus a little bit on the presentation style, how to include images, how to include your text. And then finally, I'm also going to talk about the delivery. All right. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can actually post it here in the chat. All right. And for those of you who wish to learn this in detail, we are actually conducting a live certification course on how to write a research paper and master your research presentation skills. So the link to that course is in the description and in the pinned comment as well. It's starting on 28th of January and it's going to go all the way to 12th of February. So basically for 3 weekends, we're going to meet, have 8 sessions for 12 hours and learn in detail about research paper writing and presentation skills. All right. So now coming to the topic as to how research presentations are slightly different from a research paper. So first let's talk about where exactly do you need your research presentations. So research presentations are required as part of college presentations itself. Okay. So say for example, you're delivering a final year project or any research project that you've taken in college, you will have to go for a research presentation to show to your classmates, to show to professors. You have to go for that. Okay. Guys, is my network connection all right? I hope you're not facing any problem. All right. Secondly, you go for a research presentation. Say, for example, you're going for a conference. Okay, there's so many conferences out there. So, if you're going for a conference and you're sharing your research there, then again, you need to go for a research presentation. And finally, if you're a master student or a PhD student, you actually need to defend your thesis. And that is again where you go for a research presentation. All right, so these are the different situations. Now, how is a research paper even different from a research presentation? So, first, let's talk about what are the different sections which go in a research paper. So, what are they? First is the abstract, starting from the top. Then comes the introduction. Then, after that, materials and method. Then, after that, results and discussion. And then, finally, we have the conclusion section. All right. Now, in a research presentation, what happens? Do we have all these sections? No. We actually don't have an abstract in a research presentation. And why is that? Any guesses? Anybody? Any responses? No, no idea. So, when you're delivering a research presentation, it itself is just a summary of your own research, right? Because you don't have a lot of time to share your own research. So the entire presentation itself is a summary, which is why we don't have a separate section called as an abstract. Because what is an abstract? An abstract is actually a summary of a research article, right? So that is why we don't have a separate section as an abstract in a research presentation, because a presentation itself is a summary, is itself like an elongated version of an abstract. Okay. So what are the sections that we have in a research presentation? We start with the agenda first. So in the agenda, very clearly you have to state what are some of the topics or what are some of the sections that you have in your presentation. After that, we start with the introduction section, then materials and methods, then results and discussion, then conclusion. Then very important, you also have a summary slide in the end where you talk about everything that you have done in your research, along with a separate slide on future scope and your novel contribution. Okay, so that is how a research presentation content wise is different from a research paper. Okay. Now, I will tell you what is the common mistake that people generally do when preparing a research presentation. When people prepare a research presentation, majority of the time they actually spend on the introduction. So the introduction section also consists of your literature review. And what people do is majority of the time they spend on talking about the literature review and what other people have done. Please don't do that mistake. Time your research presentation very well. How will you do it? Approximately approximately 15 to 20% of your time only should be on the introduction. Okay, another 15 to 20% on your materials and methods. Majority of your time, nearly 50% of your time, you should actually spend on your results and discussion. And why is that? Because your results and discussion are your own work. And when you are delivering your presentation, you should actually focus more on your own work than what other people have actually done. Make sense? Right? And another 20-30% of your time on conclusion, future work, scope, etc. So that's how your presentation needs to be organized. Is that clear to everybody? Now, if you have any questions at this stage, you can actually put it in the chat box. Even if you're watching this video later, that's not a problem. You can always put your questions in the chat box and I'll respond to you. All right. Now, coming to presentation preparation. So, when you're preparing a research presentation, it's very important to focus on the illustrations. Make sure your slides don't have a lot of text, because if they have a lot of text, it becomes very boring and the audience is actually not going to go through it. So make sure you have a lot of illustrations. What kind of illustrations? It can be in the form of graphs, tables, pictures, right? Say, for example, the data or the results that you've collected. So the images of the samples or the images you've collected from, say, SEM, TEM, these kind of equipments, you can also put that. But few things to remember here. Make sure they are very high quality images. Do not take pictures which have watermark on them. That does not look professional. Thirdly, the pictures that are not yours, you are taking from another research paper or from online sources. Make sure you cite them properly. You give the link where you've taken these pictures from. Especially when you're making research presentation, these things become very important. Okay. Another common mistake that people do, especially when preparing presentations and taking pictures from another source. Say, for example, you're reading a research paper and the figure that you want to take from there is actually numbered figure 3. What you will do is you will actually crop the entire thing and put it in your own presentation. Now that looks extremely bad, because it might not be figure number 3, but because you've cropped it like that in your presentation, it says figure 3. So please don't do that. Make sure the images that you are taking, they are proper, with a proper caption at the bottom that you are giving. Okay. Another thing about putting images in your presentations, do not put any image in your presentation that you are not going to explain. If you're not going to touch upon that, do not put it on the slide. Same goes for things within an image as well. Say, for example, there is a graph and there are 7 8 plots on the graph. Are you going to explain everything? Is everything important? If not, do not put so many items on the graph and make it complicated. Right? Whatever you're going to explain, whatever is important, only keep those things on your slide. Anything which you're not going to touch upon, which you're not going to explain, please don't add it on the slide. Clear? When it comes to fonts, can anybody tell me what kind of fonts should you use? I know majority of people will tell me, ma'am, Times New Roman. Right? For presentations, we don't go for Times New Roman. Try and go for a sans serif font. What are sans serif fonts? Like Calibri, Arial, Open Sans. These kind of fonts are much better. All right. So this is what I wanted to share about preparing the presentation. Of course, there's so much more that I'd like to share, but it's not possible to share through a live session, which is why we are doing our course on research paper writing and presentation skills. It's starting this 28th of January, goes all the way till 12th February, and it's a live course. So I'll be interacting with you guys for a good 8 sessions and spread over 12 hours. So, anybody who's planning to do research, anybody who's in the process of doing research or writing their research paper, or probably preparing a research presentation, this course is definitely for you. A lot of students, a lot of people also ask me, ma'am, I have not done any research. I am just a beginner. Is this course even relevant for me? Yes, of course, it's relevant because in this course, we start from the basics. We talk about how to choose your own research topic, everything we talk from the basics, then elevate it and take you to the process of how can you even get yourselves published. So anybody who's not even done research before, I think it's such a great starter course for you because then it teaches you everything that you're supposed to know about research paper writing. And then when you start your own research project, it becomes so much more easier to you. Right? Now, coming back to the topic that we were discussing today, and the last thing that I want to share with you is the delivery of a presentation. After that, if you have any questions, I will answer them in the chat. Okay, any questions that are there in the chat, I will answer that after it. So, how do you deliver a research presentation, and how is it different? So, whenever you are preparing a research paper, what do we try to do? We try to use a lot of complex vocabulary. We try to use long sentences, and little bit complexity basically we introduce in our research paper so that it looks very professional, it looks very academic, correct? So you try to give it a nice language, more complex language, much better vocabulary. That is what we do in a research paper. But when you're delivering a research presentation, we do the exact opposite. What do we do here? We go for when we are orating our presentation, when we are delivering our presentation, we go for much simpler vocabulary, day to day vocabulary, much simpler languages, shorter sentences, so that it is easier for our audience to follow what we are saying. Okay. Then what we also do is we give signal words or verbal signposts. Whenever you finish the topic, remind your audience what you've just finished and where you're heading to. Say, for example, my presentation was on electric vehicles. Okay, and I was giving the introduction of the electric vehicles, and now I want to talk about say different types of electric vehicles that are out there or whatever. Okay, so what will I do? Once I've explained the introduction, I will probably say this. So, till now, I spoke about what is the importance of electric vehicles in India and how can they control the pollution. And now I'm actually going to talk about what are the different types of electric vehicles out there. So, the moment you say a sentence like this, it immediately becomes very clear to your audience what you've just finished and where you're heading to. So try and do this whenever you complete a separate section of a research presentation. Okay. Again, lot of other things that I'd like to share with you, but moving on. The last part, coming to the last part is how to handle questions. Now, this is where majority of the people are very scared, not about their own presentations, but how will we tackle questions in the end, right? So I share a tip with you here. So what I do is that, see, all of us know our research best. So what I like to do is that based on the questions I predict people might ask, and that is not in my presentation, I actually prepare extra slides for that. That's not a part of my presentation, but after my thank you slide, these slides are there. So that in case some question arises from what I'm expecting, I can actually go to those slides and show them and explain them in a much better way. So that is what you can do. Another case, what happens is that sometimes people really ask you long winded questions which actually has 2 3 questions within it. You don't have to get scared in such a case. All right, take a breath, take a breath. After that, break that question into two, three parts, basically whatever they asked, and repeat that. You can say, if I understood you correctly, this is what you're asking, this is what you're asking, this is what you're asking. And to answer your questions, and then you answer them one by one. What happens is that this gives you extra time to think. And then you are also able to arrange your thoughts accordingly the moment you break it down into two, three parts. Another situation where, of course, you don't know the answer to a question. What do you do? Well, there are two ways. First is if somebody asks you a question and you have some idea about it. If that is the case, then you definitely try it. Okay, you try it out. You say, I'm not sure, but, and then you answer your question. It's still okay. But if somebody in the audience asks you a question that you have no idea about, then instead of saying something random and making a fool of yourself, it's better to accept the fact that I don't know. See, we're all human beings, right? It's not possible for us to know everything that is out there. So, in a very polite manner, what you can do is you can say, thank you so much for your question, and I feel it's a very valid question to ask. However, I do not know the answer to this at the moment, but I will definitely go back, find the answer to this, and probably if you can share your email ID, I can share the answer with you. But thank you so much for that. That's it. So, very smartly, with the correct attitude, you have handled the question, and nobody will feel, oh, this person doesn't know, or they're not going to look down upon you. So, this is how you can end your presentation, and this is how you can handle the questions. Okay. So, guys, this is what I wanted to share with you today about converting your research paper into a research presentation. Now, for Sandeep's question in the chat, word title and body font size, please mention. So, when it comes to title that you're giving to each slide in your presentation, you can either use it in capital letters or you can put it in sentence title case. Okay. So, for title of your presentations, you can either go for title case or you can go for uppercase. Okay. Font size, of course, I can't really tell you like the exact font size. It generally varies from the kind of font you're using, the kind of slide you're preparing. But roughly for title, it will be somewhere around 36 points to say 48 points at max. For slides, somewhere between 18, like normal text on the slide, somewhere between 18 point to say 24 points. I think that's around the range of font size on your slides. Okay. Hi, AK Avan. No, we don't have a Discord channel at the moment. But if you want to connect with me or communicate with me, you can reach out to me directly. We are available on WhatsApp and email. All the information is given on our website. So if you want, I can put the link of my website here. But like, I'm honestly not sure how many people are interested in a Discord channel, but if I get like good responses, I can definitely set one up for you guys. And if you guys are interested, so we can have different sections there. One could be a study abroad section where people are discussing their admits and SOPs and all of that. One could be, say, a research section where people are discussing their research papers, ideas, how to publish. Another could be a communication section where people are just sharing vocabulary and trying to practice and improve their communication. So there are many different sections or different categories that we cater to, and probably if I see that interest, I can actually create a Discord channel. So thank you so much for that idea. I think I will work on that. Anything else? Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for attending this live. It was very nice interacting with all of you. And just again, another reminder, do check out our research writing and presentation course, which is starting this 28th Jan. So many people are attending this. I have received already a lot of registrations, and we are participating and we are partnering with so many colleges, IITs, NITs, BITS, Pilani. So the entire student cohort that we're going to have in the course is going to be just amazing. Okay, so we have an early bird discount running for our YouTube channel. So please make use of that and register for the course as soon as possible. I will see you all there. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. How can we prepare simple presentations for freelancing clients? So, Rahul, I have actually made a video on how to master your presentation skills. It's a very comprehensive video. 10 points I've shared with you as to how to prepare your template, organize content, colors, palette, template, delivery, everything I've covered in that video. So, probably you can check that out. Even if you just go on YouTube and you type how to make a killer presentation, wise up, you will get that. Okay, so probably you can check that out. I think that will really help you. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much and bye and take care and have a great week ahead. See you. Bye.